It's International Women's Day, and your girl is hosting today. So, how everyone is doing? Let's just start off with intros and what you guys play this week. Let's start with Unsheathed Productions because you haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, and I ain't playing nothing either. I'm good.
Oh wow, that's it.
I'm just joking.
Well, you're heading the mobile market on games. So what are you playing?
Yeah, basically. So as y'all know, I've been out for like a couple weeks. First one was like personal, at a birthday party, and then after that, I was spent a full week in Austin for Apple, for work. But so essentially, what I've gotten to play is a bunch of stuff that kind of had to go on the road with me in some fashion. The first one was while I was in Austin. I actually brought a nice little mobile console with me that was able to fit in my pocket. You guys have any idea which one that is?
Was it the Switch?
It was absolutely not the Switch, and I'm not like 12, so it wasn't a Game Boy. No, it was the Stadia. I brought the Stadia with me to Austin.
How was it?
Which is interesting. So one thing I want to say about it is like I think you guys saw me when I did I did a stream, and in that stream I played Farming Simulator, which is like one of the stupidest games I could have possibly played. But
there's a whole esports behind it.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain that. I think I'm too old. This where I get crotchety because I don't know how you have an esport behind Farming Simulator, but whatever. But I ended up sorry, that was my phone. But I ended up playing a couple of games. Basically, the reason why I brought it is because I wanted to test how it would work in a non-gigabit like fiber connection. So I brought it to the hotel, and the hotel just had like Wi-Fi, and I really don't know what the download speeds and upload speeds were for their connection. Obviously, it's a hotel, but I ended up trying a couple of games. The first one was have you guys heard of Guilt?
Oh yeah, that exclusive game.
GYLT. Yeah, it's like a Stadia exclusive game. So if you guys haven't heard of it, what it is essentially it's a story of a little girl who's trying to find her little sister. The game starts out and she's like putting up missing person posters and stuff like that. Essentially trying to find her. I think it's been a month or so since she disappeared, and they kind of do the standard sort of bullying thing where there's a bunch of kids who come around and they're like making fun of her for still trying to find her sister because it's been so long. And essentially because of that, she crashes her bike, and they go into a whole tutorial mode where they teach you that it's essentially a sneaking game. Like you're trying to get around, like the kids all have flashlights and stuff like that, and you're trying to like sneak your way around and crouch under things and stuff like that in order to avoid them. And then, some kind of magical thing happens where you get a ticket to ride like this lift back towards your house, and you go through this sort of looks like a dimensional portal type of thing. And you get back to your town, and all of a sudden it's kind of like an apocalypse had happened. So like you look, there's like a school, and there's the ground's all tore up and stuff like that. And it kind of becomes pretty quickly apparent that it's supposed to be to some degree a horror game. To some degree. So essentially like the girl walks by the school and she sees like her little sister that had been missing in the window of the school, goes in to go get her, and finds like monsters in there. And like I said, it turns into a quote unquote horror game where you're kind of sneaking around, trying to stay in the dark so these monsters don't see you, and basically shining flashlights on them to kill them and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool game, kind of basic mechanics. Really the only mechanics you have are sneaking around, like I said, shining the flashlight. You get another flashlight where you can actually kill the monsters. And then the last one is just kind of like your health is essentially, the girl has asthma. So if she runs too much, like her health will get down really low, and you have to find like inhalers in order to re-up on her health. So
that's weird. So she uses other people's inhalers?
I mean, there's somebody's inhalers.
But that's kind of unique as far as
it is really unique. So, yeah, so you can, I mean, obviously the monsters can get hit by you. They actually move really slow until they see you, and at which point they like legitimately sprint at you, which actually was a little bit unsettling the first time I saw it. But one of your ways of getting away is actually that you can run, And like I said, if you run a little bit, then like as soon as you start running, her health goes down. If you don't run too much, it just like kind of Halo shield style just regenerates itself after a couple seconds. But if you run like basically past a certain threshold on your health bar, it doesn't recover. And that's where you kind of walk around and find these inhalers, which, like you said, I mean, I don't know where they're coming from. It is her school, but like she finds them literally all over the place. So she must be just using somebody else's like, coronavirus inhaler or something. But it was a cool game. I kind of made it through the first. So I had to walk around outside for a bit, sneak around. Then I went into school and then came back out and went back into school and then ran into like this massive monster who I'm assuming is like kind of the big boss of the game. It's one of those things where you don't have to fight him at the beginning, but like you see him and there's kind of like, holy crap, what is that sort of thing? And then I made it back outside and I stopped there. So I'm guessing I'm only like 5% of the way in the game or something like that. I don't really know how long the game is. I haven't looked it up, but it was a cool game. It's a cool way to start. And also just kind of as a side note, because it was Stadia, obviously you guys know that's like just streaming constantly. There were very few hiccups in the game, in the sense that like there were it almost looked like, you would have a frame drop or something like that every couple minutes or something like that, where the game would like freeze for a second, not even freeze, but just kind of stutter for a second. And then like you start seeing artifacting because like the visual quality would go down. But like other than that, it actually played pretty smooth. Now it was interesting because it kind of made me, because it was working smoothly, I kind of forgot about, the sort of like snobbery that you have about games looking good in 2020. Like the fact that you're expecting, high frame rate and high quality visuals in general. And I kind of forgot about it because it just kind of worked. So it was pretty cool. And then the other thing was
I got a question before you continue. Did you, like, when you played it, did it seem like you were playing it natively on the device, or did it seem like
Well, that's what I'm saying. Besides like those couple of stutters every couple of minutes, it totally felt like I was playing it on the device. That actually, just to keep rolling forward, the next game I played called, I believe it's Thumper. I had the name down, but I'm forgetting now. I'm pretty sure it's called Thumper. But it's kind of an on-rails rhythm-based game where essentially you have all these different things that you can do. Like if you drive over this sort of energy like spot on the track, then you have to press A. You can press left and A to sort of drift around corners.
Thumper. Yeah,
it is Thumper, right? Yeah. Press left and A or right and A to drift when you see a corner coming up. You hold A and then press up to like jump over obstacles. So essentially the idea is that like it's rhythm based and you're sliding along this track and you have to dodge all these obstacles to make it to the end, at which point the end is a boss. And it's kind of similar thing where you're doing all those same type of moves, and then at the end there's like this sort of really shiny green box that green spot that when you hit it, it shoots like a missile down the track at the boss and you beat the boss.
So I have a question because you were playing Thumper on the Stadia and those hiccups you were having, or just playing on the Stadia, did you have to get used to like any sort of delay with that? Because it's a very
it was
very
like
heavy.
Zero delay, like not even joking.
Okay,
If there was delay, I did not feel it. Yep, playing on Wi-Fi. So again, it was the same kind of thing with as with Guilt, where you would see a hiccup every once in a while. But I will say that definitely was particular to the fact that I was at that hotel, because I came back home and played it on my Wi-Fi and literally saw absolutely no hiccups whatsoever. And it ran at just like 4K the entire time.
Okay, I got another question.
60. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you say did you actually do a speed test at that hotel to see what it's
No, I didn't. That's what I was saying. Like, I don't really know what the numbers are on their connection.
But the point being is that like you saw artifacting on that Wi-Fi at the hotel, right?
Yeah, and then when I came back with my, theoretically faster connection, still on Wi-Fi, absolutely nothing.
So
ran flawlessly.
Right.
So it's obviously dependent on like the connection that you have.
It definitely is, but the more of it being that like you got very like little to no delay with a game like Thumper, and you were able to play it, but you've got artifacting on the game.
Yeah, you'd see it, you'd be playing, and then all of a sudden it would just kind of like stutter for a second, and you'd get artifacting, but you wouldn't really like skip a beat in terms of, it's not like you would press a button and you'd see, the action happen a second or a couple seconds later. Like the controls were still responding the same way. It's just the visuals took a hit.
Right, and it's I just want to comment that that's very impressive.
Yeah, especially for Thumper, because Thumper is a really fast game.
So basically, it prioritized input rather than.
Well, I mean, yeah, you kind of have to, right? Like that would be silly if you prioritize visuals, because then the game could be just it could look pretty and be kind of unplayable.
Instead of it being like just visuals, like just the connection of everything else, but input was like the priority.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seems like I would assume it'd have to be. Yeah, it seems like they did, definitely. But yeah, and Thumper is like a good. I thought that was a really good test case because it's like there's a lot of stuff happening on that screen. It's a really trippy game in terms of like the visuals, and it's also like you're moving at relatively high speed on the track. So it's something where like, keeping up in terms of frame rate is probably pretty critical for that game.
Did you make a video about it?
I did not, but I might. I think I might. Not that I'm home. I really had
cool if you did it at a hotel. That way you've been like saying, "Look, this is what happens when you're at a hotel internet."
Yeah, but I would have had to essentially I would have had to bring all my stuff to record with me. And all I really had was the Stadia, unless you're talking about like record on my phone or something.
Yeah,
like
something like that.
Oh, but then I just don't have any footage of it. I guess I get it. Yeah. Maybe next time I could do that,
just so like people are aware of what's like what the status of Stadia is at this point.
Oh, you're saying, you're saying that's what the video.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like shit talking about it all the time.
I sure am. What's up?
Yeah, I know. You a hater.
Yeah, it's okay.
Have you played it?
Have I played it?
Yes.
No.
How can you be a hater then?
I just don't like it.
Okay. I mean, it's the same thing as like Project Cloud, right? It's just not Xbox brand.
Yeah, I know that.
But you don't hate Project Cloud.
I haven't even played. I didn't say I hated. I didn't say that I hated Project Cloud. I just haven't.
I know. I thought you said you wanted to sign up for like that beta, right?
Yeah, but for some reason it didn't let me sign up. I guess because other people were signing up. So I'm just waiting on a response from them.
Okay.
Like you're on the wait list?
No, I just sent them my information and then.
Yeah, the thing where you just sign up and you don't get a response, until you do. So maybe some people already have it and she just doesn't have it yet.
Yeah, it's okay. Sharpie,
but yeah,
I'm sorry.
That was it. Actually, I would say one more thing. I did play a lot of like mobile games.
What was it?
Which is, primarily it's this game called like Goku Saga, which I mentioned before to you guys at some point in passing, just saying, "Oh yeah, I've been kind of playing this," but like, it has like a system of that's definitely kind of like it's trying to entice you to buy things. So it's free to play, obviously, and you could pick up, their currency is diamonds, and you could pick up like the diamonds, and for a certain amount of money, which is way too much for how much you actually get. But it helps you advance your characters. It's basically like a turn-based fighting, not even fighting. I don't even know how you would call it. It's kind of like the what was the game we had, Destiny Child or something like that?
Yeah.
Did you guys mention it? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. I think it's kind of similar to that. But you go through, you level up your characters, and there's a whole bunch of different ways you could do that, and the diamonds that you can purchase help that. But it got kind of addictive because I've actually been able to. It's set up where it actually is possible to level up your characters and stuff like that without spending money like that.
Yeah.
So it ended up being kind of like a addictive little experience. I basically check it like I've spent way too much time playing this game at this point. Like I think the last time I looked at my phone, it said I had like, I forget how often it checks. I think it's like every week, but it was like I had like 20 hours of screen time on my phone or something like that.
And all of it was on that.
It's almost all of that freaking game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a cool game. It's just based on like
How
Dragon
much
Ball.
you spend on that game?
I spent a total of $15. And
okay, so
I spent $15.
Like so you're like not even a whale, not even a dolphin.
No, absolutely not. I spend the only way they got me to spend any money on it was that like there were things that were, if you spent the money, it was practical. I got some diamonds one time because they were on sale for like 75% off. And I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And it was like 99 cents or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then another time, I think it was kind of similar, and it was $5. And the last time, it was just something that would help me level up way faster, and it cost like $10. So it's a total of like $15.
Something that has to bring extreme value, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like it has to be at the extreme.
Yeah, if it's just like, so here's an example that I think is so stupid. They have a thing where you can use 250 diamonds to randomly get a character, and randomly can mean like the shittiest low tier character possible all the way up to like a really powerful character, but there's like a percentage that you're going to get each individual type of character you could get.
Okay.
So for example, like they might charge you $5 for like 300 diamonds. One chance is 250. So you could spend $5 and get like the lowest tier character possibly in the game. It's basically loot boxes.
Yeah.
Where it's like you spend the money and it's like you don't really have, the fact that you spent however much money you spent doesn't really increase your chances of getting anything good. Which is why I'm like, y'all need to give me like a really good incentive to do it. But yeah, it's like I said, it'd be, if you guys want to check it out, it's a cool game. And I also tried Teppen, which I won't talk about too much, but that one I've watched a bunch of gameplay of. I think Zeldrick, you tried it too before, right?
I've tried it, and like I'll get back to it here and there. But
yeah, that's the same kind of thing with me. Yeah, it's like it's cool.
I do want to put more time into it. It's just that like when I get phone time, I will put time into it. But recently, I haven't been able to. So
yeah. That one I might talk about more in the future if I get a chance to play it more, because I don't really know. I wouldn't really be able to say much about it, but yeah, that's what I've been doing for like the last couple of weeks.
Okay, interesting. How about you, JSharpie? What have you done this past week?
So this past week, I've actually been watching a bunch of movies. You know what's funny? After I finished, compiling all the podcast and rendering it on for YouTube. Mm-hmm. Because I was just on YouTube to upload this thing. The next thing I realized was like, I wonder what movies there are like on YouTube. And then like the first thing I saw was Super Size Me 2. And I was like saying, wait, there's a second movie?
Wait,
right?
why would they make a second one? Like,
are you talking about
we
the
get
movie?
the point from the first one.
Is it the movie with the guy that eats
McDonald's.
Yeah. So but then this time he was making a fast food joint, and it was a very interesting movie. Like at first he was like saying, I thought, well, you all know that I don't really eat meat, but then like I found it fascinating, and I think you guys would enjoy it too. Like on like the industry on how it goes, and it it didn't say like anything about like anti like meat or anti like slaughter or anything like that. Like it was pretty clear on that like this guy likes to eat meat, but then like he talks about like how the industry works and how like these like how it gets started, and it shows the entire process and like how the finances go around it, and like how the farming goes around it. So this guy had to like make his own chicken chicken coop, and like he had to borrow somebody else's chicken farm cabin thing, right, where they raise chickens. And my God, sometimes some of the things is kind of fucked up, but like he felt bad about it, but then like that's like part of the process.
Yeah, fast food industry is fucked up.
Yeah.
Once you actually know what's going on, it's not good at all.
Yeah, but then like what's funny is like there's a whole what's that go? There's a whole what do you call it? lobbying behind the chicken industry.
Yeah.
So like basically like you get ranked, and then you have to be part of this like chicken group thing, right? Like as farmers, and you're locked in place because like they kind of force you to do certain things and you can't get out of it. So you're like constantly in debt. And so like, and then like all these farmers are wants to get out of the industry, and they're trying to get their kids to not be in that industry. It's very very like interesting that I wasn't aware of. And what's funny is that this guy, he opened up a restaurant in Ohio because like that's where all the fast food like tests starts, right? And it spreads throughout the United States from there. So like, so what he did was like all over the walls of the restaurant, like there's all of these information saying this is the type of like the chicken that you expect to see, but this is the type of chicken that was actually slaughtered and stuff like that on these brochures and menus. And it's just like saying, and like the guy the farmer who helped this guy out got the lowest pay from the lobbying group. Because everybody gets a split payoff for some reason. And yeah, I think you should watch it. It's not going to make you disgusted about the industry, or it's not going to make you not want to eat fast food. It's just like, it's very interesting how the process went, if you're very interested in how business works as in the fast food industry.
Yeah, the farming industry, when it comes to just in general as well, like there's a lot of stuff that people don't know, and like that needs some sort of, I would say that needs some sort of reform. But like that entire thing, like with having some sort of group for chickens and like all that stuff, it just sounds so bad.
Yeah, and basically like the guy helped him out by saying this is the guy that helped me make this restaurant, and like they honor this guy with everything and all that. I'm gonna go through movies first, and then I'm gonna talk about the games that I played. So what do you call it? Yesterday I watched Onward, like the Pixar movie.
How was that?
It was actually really good. I was surprised. I was having zero expectations out of this movie, and I was like,
"Wait, what is Onward? I don't even remember it."
It's about like these two brothers that they lost their dad and they're living with their mom. This guy turned 16, and then he had a gift from his dad that when both brothers are at least 16 years old, they get a staff. And then the brother is like very into Dungeons and Dragons type of game, and it's based off of their like actual past, like the whole world's past, and basically they find magic, and they want to bring their dad back, because the idea is to bring their dad back for 24 hours, and then only half of his body showed up, which is his legs.
Yeah, now I remember. I was just looking at the trailer. I'm like, I remember that, seeing the whole thing with like his legs just showing up and stuff like that. This movie totally sounds like it's like right in your wheelhouse, dude.
Yeah,
like the whole
but then
fantasy thing.
I was surprised on how good like everything came together at the end. Like this guy, I can't really talk about it too much because I think you guys should go see it. But it's very like he starts writing things down on his his little journal, and then like all that stuff just comes together at the end of the movie, and I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. Or like I should have seen it coming, but then for some reason I didn't, because I think I was so like focused on the story and the progression and all that, on how it went.
Well, I'm glad that you did say that it turned out better than you thought when you went in with zero expectations, because like I saw the trailer for that. I was like, it seems it'll be an okay movie. And so now you sold a movie ticket from me.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about that, because I don't want to like spoil it in any way, because it's still new. Let's see. So when it comes to gaming, I actually played Walking Simulator on Steam. There was
Wait,
an
it's
actual
actually a game
free-to-play
called
game
Walking
called
Simulator?
Walking Simulator. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and basically it's what they just basically took the concept of Death Stranding, just the walking aspect of it.
Oh, okay.
That's all you did.
And that's it. That's all it really was.
With the tilting and everything.
Kind of, yeah. I wouldn't know exactly how it works on or how it feels on Death Stranding, but yeah, that's it's kind of like that. Basically, here's the description of it. In the year 2020, World War III and the coronavirus destroyed the civilized world. You are the last post carrier tasked to get parcels from point A to B in the most barren and desolate place on Earth.
So yes, Death Stranding.
Hey, is it actually? Did they actually make a reference to the coronavirus?
Yeah, in the description, it's free to play too.
Okay.
Huh.
Interesting.
All right. Was there any other game though?
So most of the time I was spending time like trying to like write up my, my business model, I guess, like planning it out. So I didn't really play too much. The only thing I really did was just like played some mobile games, which is, as always, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
I thought you were going to say Call of Duty Mobile.
Oh no, I didn't do that at all. I was spending a lot of time like trying to think of like how to like find people, like find the right people, and find how to like to create a process on my like idea. But then that and KOF All Stars.
Yeah, I actually just downloaded it yesterday because you mentioned it, but I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah,
what kind of draws you to that game?
I guess it's just the characters, and then like it does auto battling for you, which is like you just have it on it, like you can set it like, oh, do this particular event 16 times by yourself, so you can just let it run by itself like 16 times depending on how much energy you have.
I think that's kind of like, it's weird, but that feels like a good trend in mobile gaming, like actually a reasonable trend where it's like you could play a game but you can tell it to kind of like play by itself. That way you can like always have it with you, but at the same time like you don't have to be like staring at the screen the whole time.
Yeah,
I kind of like that trend.
You have to have it like
open.
Yeah.
Hey,
So like that's why I do it on the emulator.
With those types of games, or I mean just games in general, you download it, but then like you tell it to play itself. And we talked about this off the podcast before, and like how that sort of thing, it seems like it's kind of a good thing. On the outside, just saying that, it sounds really bad.
It sounds stupid. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it sounds stupid, but then like it saves you a lot of time because it allows you to focus on other things.
Exactly, but more in depth with that, like there's a lot of these mobile games where they have you do these repetitive daily or weekly missions or things or events or whatever, and it's like they're piss easy. And when you're given this task of like, oh, like run this battle or whatever so many times, and it's just like, well, I'm mollywopping this entire group like 5 times over. I don't want to do this because I want this event item or this like a upgrade currency that they're giving me, but it's pissy. I don't have to do anything. Have it auto battle for me so I can work on something else. It's a glorified screensaver for all those daily missions that I have to do, so that I can actually do a harder event by myself and actually do handle the game at that time. So
so it's not it like if you actually manually have to do it, you're like a piece of a cog in a wheel.
Yeah, it's also like very, very tedious when you have to do that, because like the Destiny Child mobile games that I told you about.
So the idea was like I think like you're trying to get into our heads, like automation is like starting to become more and more of a thing. And like this is like another way of putting it. It's like saying, this is what automation can do, or that's how I see it. But and Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, like, you know, you still have to do everything manually, but I know how to like do it very efficiently now, and I have a macro set, so I just have to push this button once, and then it does the process for me, like just throughout one single round, a single round of event. So like, because Brave Exvius is pretty manual unless you have it on auto attack, but then auto attack is not very good because it's just, you know, auto attack. You know, like in Final Fantasy games or most like turn-based RPGs, it's best to like strategize like an ability and stuff like that. Like, yeah, but like in this way, like it's so much more efficient to just, you know, just push this one button and it does all this stuff for you. And yeah, that's all I really did. Just I'm trying to like lock down. I'm trying to set a deadline by the end of this month on trying to get my idea out there.
Cool. Well, I hope that your idea comes to fruition, Sharpie. How about you, Zeldrick? What'd you do this week?
I played Monster Hunter. I played it for one night because there's an event going on that's for the Chinese New Year's, and also the Resident Evil 2 event, which was also it was really cool. And I ended up playing that for a whole night because I thought it was going to be like a couple hours or whatever, and then I just played more of it. And I thought I'll just play this for the rest of the night. Otherwise, other than that, it was Final Fantasy VII, and I played the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo.
Which I think we should talk about later.
Yep.
Okay. And then but also like Final Fantasy 14, because I'm trying to upgrade gear and stuff like that, but also leveling crafters. I talked about that last week, and so that's taking a little bit of my time outside of streaming. But I didn't really get to play as much games as I wanted to this week because just focusing on classes and school and studying for the IT test. That's really it. I don't have any other game stuff to say. So
how'd it go with your assignments?
It's going pretty well. I actually did I went to a study session or the math tutor that is for my class on Friday to go over just some random questions from previous homework. That's what's going to be assigned or that what's going to be on the test. And it turned out that I ended up knowing most of the stuff going backwards because because it feels like forever ago that like from the past or from the first two sections, and but no, going back, like I feel pretty confident. Just need to finish up one piece of homework and study up on one more thing and I'll be good. And then programming, I have delayed that, so I need to get on that, but that's pretty much it. And then with the IT studying, I've been there is a humble bundle for flashcards for like 4 different CompTIA certificates, and I've been going through one of them just on my free time when I'm walking between classes or whatever I'm doing. So just any type sort of free time that I have, filling that in. So. And then, well, I guess the other thing with gaming is that with Final Fantasy VII, I did some grinding off stream of getting everybody's limit breaks and the battle arena, and that's it. That's been my entire gaming. I haven't really been doing much. LadyInfamous, what about you?
I played a lot this week. Let's start off with when we played Heath Hove this past week. I think we finished the standard game.
I had completely forgot about that.
You guys forgot about that.
Yeah, wow.
Anyway, I had fun. We beat the standard game. I couldn't stay the whole stream because I have to go to work in the morning, but the gentleman on the panel, they did this insane mode. I guess because when I left the game, I was dead weight. So
that is such a hilarious game.
You guys saw the video that I posted?
I did see the video. It was hilarious because it was just me like limping everywhere, and they literally had to like get the coin, get me, and get to the finish line.
Just like carry you to the finish line.
I'm telling you, I've been carried all week.
Which is hilarious because it actually like when you don't control the character, it actually makes your character kind of heavy. Like trying to drag somebody and pick them up and stuff like that. Everybody else's character struggles to do that. Mm-hmm. Like if I was just holding you with one arm and tried to like lift you up, like I can't do it. There were times where we had to all like come over and like grab your character just to make sure she got there.
So real life, right? Okay. Got it.
It had to be like the effort of two people to be able to do anything effectively.
You could not do that by yourself. There's no way.
Yeah. Let me see what else. I played Yakuza 0. It's good. The last mission was interesting. I was a little tipsy that Friday, so I was playing Yakuza 0 while I was tipsy, looking for drinks for homeless people, like sake, beer.
Hey, real quick, the game was free? Was it free at some point or something? What inspired you to play it? Oh, it's on Game Pass. That's why.
It's on Game Pass. So it was sake, beer, whiskey, and some other drink. And every time I'm looking for a location, it's like a group of people want to fight me all the time. Like, oh, there she is. Let's go get her. And then the fighting sequence comes. And I'm like, I just want to find this special sweet potato scotch.
Did you not like...
So random for you to say
that. The game's great, isn't it?
It's okay.
Fuck, really?
It's a game I like to play when I'm not streaming.
Okay.
Did you not like
that?
Were you not a huge fan of like the fighting mechanics or something? How come you weren't like? It sounds like you weren't super enthused about it, because that's like the main part of the game, right? Is the actually fighting.
Oh, I'm cool with the fighting mechanics. It's just there's some just fetch quest missions in the story that kind of drives up the game for me. I don't have a problem with the fighting mechanics. I personally like Rush. There's Rush, Brawler, and Beast. That's what I have so far. I do not like Beast because it's slow and you have to pick up something like an item to actually activate the Beast mode. I can't do that. Just give me, was it Brawler or Rush, and I'm cool. I played Did I say South Park Stick of Truth? Yes.
Not yet.
No, South Park Fractured Butthole. Play that. I got stuck.
Did you finish it?
No, I got stuck.
Oh wait, I think I heard this. Are you stuck at the ninjas?
Yeah, I'm still stuck at the ninjas.
Yeah, the ninjas are horrible because they keep making you bleed, right?
No, they keep adding more ninjas.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, if you don't kill him fast enough, he like summons another one basically, and right? Or a couple more.
Yes, and then you get overwhelmed by
ninjas. That's right. I forgot about that.
I'm so sorry. I just really kidnapped your game. I'm sorry. I'm trying to beat it as fast as I
wasn't even thinking about it. That's fine.
But I am still enjoying it. I'm still enjoying it. The Fractured Butthole. I just have to. It's more strategic, and you got to use your brain juices to actually beat some of those matches, and that's what I intend to do.
Oh wait, so since you just recently played it, was the ninjas that make you bleed? Was that in the first one?
I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, they do make you bleed too, but.
Okay, so those white ninjas, the white ninjas.
So
yeah, that's right. Okay.
I think I have to change.
Just want to make sure I was thinking of the same. I was wondering why I was confused at first. But...
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. You're good. Sorry.
Okay. Superhero lineup. I had a tournament this week as well. I have to. So this past week I was playing Call of Duty for practice. The tournament was, this is round 1. It was a 1-gun game and 4 free-for-alls on core and various maps and stuff. You'll get your plays from each game plus your kills and makes your average. If you place top 3, that's good for you for the next week. So I placed 5th, 4th, 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 But my killing average was higher than my placement, so I actually ranked 3rd this weekend, which is good because I wanted to place. Next week will be another round. What else did I play? I played Rainbow Six Siege this morning with El Boogie 0208, myself, and You're Too Ugly 160, and
wait, what?
That's the name of the guy that we were playing with. You're Too Ugly 160. We were playing the new stuff, actually, how the new layout is and the map ban and stuff like that. We played a little bit of quick match, which was pretty easy for us. So we played unranked, which is kind of sweaty. So it was okay. My week, as far as that is concerned, I'm still training people. I got my yearly report coming up. Hopefully I get a raise. I believe that's it for me for this week. Let's start with the first bit of news. Let's start with The Last of Us coming to HBO. Anybody excited? I know everybody here has HBO, right?
No.
I don't, but for context, there was supposed to be a Last of Us movie, and after development hell, it is being turned into a TV series.
Yeah.
I'm surprised HBO is taking up on it.
Well, more details on that. Why do you say so?
Yeah, why are you surprised?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how often does like something that's so like a network that's so old to actually pick up like a video game franchise?
I mean, it's not a video game, but they did Watchmen.
And that was great.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably less about what the genre is of the initial content and more so like, does it have kind of a seemingly rich story that they can kind of turn into something that'll like draw people in, which I think is kind of like exactly what The Last of Us is known for.
And if the script that they have right now, if it's dramatic enough, because this is HBO.
Yeah.
The last HBO series that I watched was Black Sails, and that one was really good, but it was also a drama. So I think that The Last of Us fits pretty well inside HBO. So
wait, so in terms of Chernobyl, is it just me and LadyInfamous that watched it?
Probably.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
You guys didn't watch Chernobyl?
Well, I don't have HBO.
Oh, okay. If you have,
I think I have HBO now because I think yesterday or last week I said like I took my grandpa to Comcast and I think they gave us a bunch of channels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For a lower price, so.
Yeah, I think it's the reason I asked is because it's pretty significant. I think that like, the creator Chernobyl was like interested in it because Chernobyl is like that is a phenomenal TV series, and I think like it's in terms of both. Yeah. What'd you think?
Phenomenal is the great word. A great word.
Okay.
Better than The Sopranos.
Yes.
I never watched The Sopranos, so I couldn't say.
Oh,
but yeah.
You sleeping, cuz.
Better than The Entourage.
Better than The Entourage.
Really?
Yes.
I loved Entourage.
Not better than Boardwalk Empire, though. That was
haven't watched any of those. It's too long.
Boardwalk Empire? Yeah, it's probably too long.
Yeah, I think I tried it at some point, but it was like it's a long show to get through. That's why it took me so long to watch The Office too. But yeah, like just the fact, just in terms of, I could see how, based on how what's his name, Craig Mazin, or I think his name was, how he did Chernobyl, I could see him doing a very good job of sort of creating that similar kind of vibe in terms of dreariness, in terms of like, just kind of, I don't know, just sort of like a world that's sort of falling apart. So having that same kind of vibe for like The Last of Us that he did in Chernobyl. Actually, that would have been cool if he would have done. I wonder if he would have done something like Metro as a series. Now that I think about it, but I think this is gonna be like fantastic. Hopefully,
I hope so. What I don't want with this game, with this TV show, I don't want to just be Joe and Elle. Like
that's exactly who it's gonna be, though.
But it shouldn't be. That's a whole new world. Like big ass world that they can fill in with other characters.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's not literally going to just be
out
them.
of all the HBO shows that I saw after the year 2000, it's always been about at least 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna like. I mean, I'm trying to think. Was there anybody else that was like significant over the course of the game that was in the story? In
Joel's little lady friend, which he died.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about her.
Yeah, she died.
Damn, spoilers.
Look, that game is 10 years old.
The Last of Us 2 is about to come out.
Man, get out of here. I don't want to hear nothing about no spoilers about no 10-year-old game.
But like they say specifically in the article that the show is going to follow the events of the first game. So it's like it is definitely going to be Joel and Ellie.
So, all right, whatever. I just think that they could have went another route as far as the writing with this show. If they're going to go, if they're doing it based on the events of the first game, then we all know what's going to happen. This is just a
but
show
you got to remember this is probably going to be
if it's like the Last of Us.
Yeah. But you remember if this is going to be like if this does well, they'll make another one. So it could just be that they're starting with what already has been like established and then saying, okay, if this is kind of like as good as we think it's going to be, then we'll probably start to branch out from there in further seasons or spin-offs or something like that. Maybe.
Okay, there's one thing I wish they won't do.
What is that?
Stuff political agenda down people's throats with this show.
They might.
Was that in the game? I don't remember.
No, it's not in the game. What? But then lots of media outlets are starting to or has been doing that from time to time, and I really don't like that. Like, I get it, there's a problem, but then don't do it in such a way where it just try to shoves it down our throats.
Well, hold on, because The Last of Us didn't have anything like that in particular. Granted, it was a while ago since I did play The Last of Us, but from what I recall is zombie apocalypse, well, the clickers and shit, there was some sort of apocalypse that happened, some sort of infection spread, and people are trying to survive. That was it. I don't see how they're going to be like, oh yeah, let's just put modern day politics as the downfall for why The Last of Us is happening. It doesn't fit. Because that's not actually what happened.
This is what I mean. Remember, did you guys watch, what was that? Marvel. Oh, yeah. Captain Marvel.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was a good movie.
Really? I felt that movie was just so I was just saying, oh, is it because I'm a woman or something like that? And it just kept throwing political agenda stuff at me.
It didn't seem like that at all. But also, that's an entire different discussion altogether if you want to actually get into that.
Yeah, but because the original Captain Marvel, it didn't really do that in comics. So I was just like, why did they have to throw that at me?
Comics from how old ago?
A long time ago. It was.
Well,
it
that's
was
a
just,
different time
She was
frame.
just strong in general. Oh, in fact, what do you call it? Wonder Woman didn't really do that.
You
find
mean
that hard to believe.
The current movie didn't, or you mean the comics didn't?
Or both for Wonder Woman.
I mean.
Yeah. They can always turn it around and then just add that in there somewhere. I don't like that.
I don't actually remember that from Captain Marvel.
I haven't watched.
But also wasn't.
I don't remember that from Captain Marvel
in fact, you know which show did? What do you call it? Batgirl, the CW show.
Oh wow, you watched?
I didn't watch that either because it was on CW.
Yeah, well, the Arrowverse is pretty interesting. I mean, it is low budget, but the Arrowverse stuff is pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I watched The Flash. The Flash was pretty good.
Yeah, The Flash is good. I liked Arrow. Supergirl's kind of okay. It's kind of cringy at times, but yeah. But other than that, let's just continue.
But yeah, I think I'm probably on the same boat as Zeldrick and saying that if they already have the content established, they're probably not gonna. I assume they wouldn't really try to throw that in there, considering it wasn't in the game originally. as far as I remember.
And if anything, like, weren't there a couple of prominent female actresses or just their roles in The Walking Dead? Like, what if they took on a role of kind of like Michonne, where it's just they can handle their own shit?
I mean, that's basically who Ellie is to, like.
Yeah, no,
well, I mean,
I'm
I guess
fine
that's
with that.
what
It's just like,
saying,
oh, I don't like when they just blatantly like attack a certain, a message.
It's called attacking the status quo, but whatever. I guess that's neither here or there. So yeah, I think that The Last of Us will be. I think it fits right at home with HBO as a dramatic series.
I'm totally with you on that. Especially since they seem to have Naughty Dog working with them, so.
That's true. And, I mean, with Uncharted, like, both of those could have been up for, like, going to HBO. Well, I don't know about Uncharted, but still, like, Uncharted is going through, like, development hell as far as for the movie goes. We've already covered that.
I cannot see Uncharted as a TV show.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think so.
It has to be
I don't think so either, but more like for the screen. The fact that like the way that they portray their games is very cinematic. So the fact that they're getting screen adaptations is pretty cool.
So, LadyInfamous, you didn't like the story of Uncharted?
I haven't played it.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you were saying before, like, you weren't excited about, like, Uncharted 2 or whatever, so... And it didn't sound like you were super... I don't know, maybe I'm just getting the wrong impression. It doesn't sound like you were super jazzed about the idea of this TV series, so...
Of Uncharted?
Just kind of curious.
Uncharted TV series? Or the...
No, of The Last of Us.
If it's gonna be the same shit that I done played on the game, no.
Oh, that's what I was asking. Did I say, did you play Uncharted? I might have said the wrong game.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, sorry. I meant, did you not like the story of The Last of Us?
Yes, I enjoyed the story of The Last of Us very, very much. But I don't want to like waste time watching the show on something that I already know what's gonna happen. That's what I'm getting at. I would like to see like developable characters in there, but if they're sticking to how close they're going to stick to that script.
So let me ask you, Infamous. So when, let's say that the Last of Us universe was just in a different, if it wasn't exactly the Last of Us, chapter by chapter in the game that was portrayed onto HBO, a completely different area of the Last of Us put onto HBO as a series, you would want that.
I'll get jiggy with that.
Okay, but how about this? People that don't play games and then they see The Last of Us and they saw all this critical acclaim for it and they're like, oh man, I heard so much about The Last of Us. I guess I don't play video games. I'm not going to really experience that. But hold on. Now they make an HBO series and now other people can finally get to witness the story of something they did not play.
And you know what? I think that's a great outlet for people who hasn't experienced The Last of Us universe or the game. I think that's a great idea for them who have never touched, played, seen, known anything about The Last of Us. I think for the new people that never experienced that, I think that's a great thing for the show. As far as me, as a person who played the game, who knows the story, who listens to lore sometimes, I just don't, it feels repetitive for me.
So would you watch a Call of Duty movie?
Hell no. There's plenty of those. There's plenty of Call of Duty movies out there.
That is true.
So,
well, I think that like having a screen adaptation of a game, like the fact that that Sonic did more than just mediocre at the big screen, it says a lot. And I think that if we get screen adaptations of other games and they do more than just mediocre, we're actually getting somewhere of having screen adaptations of video games that we like. So it's just a different form of the media that we already enjoy watching.
it's okay. I think it's great compared to what we dealt with. Like, I don't know. I guess this is me in Unsheathed age range that shows and movie adaptations of video games has been horrible. Am I right, Chief? Street Fighter.
I mean,
Street Fighter was amazing.
You are sarcastic.
Yeah, especially Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh, dude, even better.
Fucking almost like 90%, 95%, I will even stretch that, of screen adaptations of video games have been horrible. They've always been horrible.
But now,
I don't know.
So
I liked what do you call it? Like my guilty pleasure is Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider.
That's your guilty pleasure?
Like, well, when it comes to video game movies.
I would have to say,
I thought it's a fun film.
No,
it's not a great film, but it's a fun film.
I know, I understand. Mortal Kombat is just like nostalgic for me, even though the production was. Woo, you when you were younger, you thought that movie was amazing. When you get older and your eyes settle in, you see the issues and the problems it becomes.
You know what's funny?
I think what?
Oh, I was going to say that Mortal Kombat, that's like my brother and his friends like yearly like watch the movie because they love it, how cheesy it is, and I think they all know every line in that movie by now.
Well, that's actually what I was gonna say, is that like at first, like when it first came out, us kids have been like, oh, that's so cool or whatever, and then like not even a year or two later, we're just like, wow, this is so hokey and it's so stupid. It's been so long for like the Mortal Kombat movie, the first one, that we can look back and be like, yeah, this is entertaining because it's so dumb.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of knows what it is. They knew they were making a video game movie,
right?
But it's still kind of like they did a pretty accurate representation of it, but it was still kind of like a little hokey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like the first Street Fighter movie, that was originally a G.I. Joe movie.
It shouldn't have been that either.
I forgot G.I. Joe movie. I totally forgot about that. Wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Let's go to our next topic, I guess. Spawn's coming up on the 20th. Am I right?
Yep. Spawn is coming out, what was it, March
Early access
7th?
March 17th, yeah.
Yeah, March 17th. And his gameplay video just dropped like about a couple hours ago.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I want to hear what Mortal Kombat, what LadyInfamous thinks about it.
I think I like the artwork of it. I like how he looks. He looks heavy. Like he moves slow. Yeah,
he moves super slow. I mainly wanted to hear because I know you said you like Mortal Kombat characters, but you said you weren't a huge fan of like the characters that are kind of guests in the series. Does it feel like he fits to you?
No. Spawn. While I'm looking at this gameplay, Spawn is perfectly, to me, is better fit for Mortal Kombat than I say Joker.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Personally.
What do you think it is, though?
Because of Spawn?
Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think makes Spawn like feel a little bit more applicable to the series than it did like Joker?
I just see him more like into. I think he's more acceptable for me into the Mortal Kombat Netherworld universe versus Joker. Like Joker, it seems like they just plastered it on there. With Spawn, I think there could be some story behind that.
Okay.
He looks heavy. He played like who was that? Terminator. So like the Terminator of Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Leatherface.
Okay. I can see that. I can kind of see that actually. How they play more of like a slower
big
character.
Slow character. Yeah, they're tanks essentially.
That cape is OP.
Yeah.
That red cape he got on is like an extra limb considered as a hit. So
yeah.
So if you have like variations of their costumes and stuff, you gotta. Do you want the robe? You want the little robe in the back, the little cape in the back, because that adds an extra hit to your combos. Oh, look at that.
And I think they kind of fixed. I want to say they kind of fixed, but I don't know if I should even be saying something like that. But like for someone that is looking like to be a slower character, he has ways to get in from like from a distance. So like he has a neutral game where like you need to know, like when you face against Spawn, you have to know your range because he has these tentacles and these tendrils that can shoot out and hit you. And if they do get the hit in, then like he can move in with it and then get a combo off of you. So you kind of have to play with your distance as well with him because like once he gets in, it looks like he's gonna be a monster.
Yeah, you're probably gonna take a lot of damage as soon as he gets in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't really like I know Spawn. I only read like the first 5 comic book series, but I don't like. I didn't know he was still relevant. Last I heard of him in a video game was Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Right. He was in Soul Calibur 2 on the original Xbox, but I mean, Spawn as a concept, I don't keep up with comics like at all. Though I don't know if there is a continuing series, if there's a series going on right now as far as comics book goes, but I think this is like, to me anyways, I want Spawn to become relevant again because he's just such a cool looking character. And if you want to talk about bad movies, that Spawn movie was pretty bad.
It's horrible.
It was horrible. But still, like, as a concept, he's a really cool character. And he's badass as hell.
Yeah.
He's really cool. So I'm glad that he's, becoming relevant again. Or more being put into the limelight. Because I think he needs a little bit more attention. I think it needs to be coming back.
I will say for me personally, though, looking at the trailer, I agree with you, LadyInfamous, in saying that, like, he fits into, like, that universe. But I don't think he looks like that cool of a character, though.
You don't think
I don't know. Maybe, like, the big, slow tank guy isn't really my type of character, but I don't know. Something about, like, his moveset isn't as, like, flashy or isn't as, like, kind of visceral as I would have expected it to be, considering who the character of Spawn is.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not as flashy as Joker.
Yeah.
Like Joker was like, it's all flash, but then watching a ton of gameplay footage of the Joker, like he also has some depth, and a lot of people have been having fun with Joker.
Oh yeah.
But with Spawn, I will also agree a little bit that it doesn't look like he's very showy with his moves, but on the other comment that was said, I think he perfectly fits with the Mortal Kombat thing because of a few of his moves being like swinging a sword at you with green magic when he punches, and then like turning someone all onto fire. Like he has all that, and like,
and doesn't he have like a machine gun like thing too, or like a
he has like an anti-air machine gun, and yeah
he has a few guns on him too. But I think he fits in like the nether world.
Yeah, definitely.
Sort of thing, kind of like Scorpion and stuff.
Ooh, Jesus Christ.
Wow, one religious reference and one astrology reference. Scorpio
he's an
and
astrology
Jesus
guy.
Christ.
He knows.
But yeah, gameplay trailer just dropped. Check it out. I cannot wait to see footage of him when he finally drops.
Okay. Are you gonna?
And the last thing I want to say real quick though is what do they call the move, LadyInfamous, when you your little bone breaker type of move? What's the name of that move?
Fatal blow.
Fatal blow. There you go. Is it a fatal blow? I don't know. If it's the fatal blow, yeah. I think his fatal blow is pretty cool though. Like the thing where he opens his cape and like a whole bunch of guns just come out and he starts shooting you with them.
Yeah, that's the fatal blow.
Yeah. That's like, I think that part's cool. And then for whatever reason, I really like the thing where they hit the ground and then the claws come out and just like rip it, like basically like they like rip a whole bunch of, basically rip them into pieces of what kinds it looks like, which clearly that doesn't happen because you can still fight after a fatal blow. But I don't know, those two parts of it looked like badass to me. I really like those.
And I think the intro and the outro, both of those are really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The outro was gorgeous. I ain't gonna lie though. That Spawn outro where he gets sucked back to hell. He just chill on a rock with the fire all around him. Very, very gorgeous.
Those are my metal albums right there.
Yeah. Also, there was another trailer to this week was also Ghost of Tsushima, and we got
Ghost of Tsushima,
and we got a date.
Yep, we June 26th. And as an article put it, right after E3. But it's a story trailer, and I mean, if you want to talk about like movie-like games, this is it. Like if you watch, it's a 3-minute video, and it sets up for a really, really cool game, and a cool concept for a story, where, and unfortunately, like, I still don't have his name. Like, I've watched a few of these trailers, and I don't actually get his name, but I guess he's the ghost of Tsushima.
His name is Jin Sakai.
Okay. Well, Sakai...
Or how would you pronounce that, Sharpie? Sakai?
You said it pretty much exactly like it.
Is that
Sakai.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, the story being that, like, Sakai goes into war with... I'm assuming is either his father or the emperor for his area, or for Japan, I guess. And they fight the Mongolians, because he references that he wants to get back at the Khan, and so he was the last one alive, and he was able to get out, but now he's deemed the ghost because he's the last one alive. But they got a whole bunch of good shots in this too. The resolution, the animation quality is top notch too. Gameplay wise, like, this is by Sucker Punch, so like they made the Infamous series, and I get some of that feeling because like you have some sort of like aerial maneuverability when it comes to traversing, but it's like a hook shot. And other than that, like the gameplay and the sword fighting, like it is very much like one of those old samurai movies from way back in the day. It looks really, really good. The
only thing I can think about for this game is, what do you call it? Like how everything's going to happen. Because it's very confusing on what the gameplay is going to even be like. For me, at least.
We haven't seen the gameplay.
Is, what do you call it? Is Way of the Samurai. Where
well,
you only really have one health.
Well, I kind of want to butt in with that because one of the first things they showed with this game was I want to say half of a level that they showed you like how the gameplay was going to be. And it went through going through like the outside, going into a village, and then sneaking around, fighting guys inside of a little house, and then you get your ass tossed outside, and you're in a boss battle with fire all around you. So there is a gameplay footage of it, and it's not like one hit, one kill, or whatever. Like you're dead. There's no UI when it comes to that gameplay footage. But no, they have it. And I think it might be that like there might be remember how Horizon Zero Dawn was with the traveling, or not like how you would travel, but the amount of space there was in between everything. I kind of feel like that there's going to be a little bit of that where it's not too much, but you're going to have some sort of traveling with it. I don't know. It just feels like that with the amount of the trailer that was before this that they showed did show a vast distance that you're covering by horse from one place to the other. They showed like maybe 3 seconds of it, but it was like there's nothing in front of it. You're just going. So, Yeah, this finally got me excited for this game, because everything before this I was like, okay, you showed me a little bit more, and now I actually feel excited about this. And now that there is a date for it too, that helps.
Day one buy?
I mean, if money is on my side for this.
If money is on your side, day one?
Then yes, it would be.
I think I'm getting it day one too. I had been interested in it for a long time. I'm trying to avoid kind of really too many story spoilers, but still, it just looks like a fantastic game.
What about you, Sharpie?
I have to see what more about like how the game is going to be played. The story looks great. The problem for me is going to be, is the gameplay going to be fun for me?
Okay.
Yeah, if it's like mostly stealth and then a lot of stealth kills, then hell yeah.
That's actually up for debate. We don't know how much.
Yeah, we don't know how much that's going to be like. I know a lot of this game is going to be stealth.
You know, I'm not good at stealth, but I'll try. I will really try. What's so funny? Because I'm not.
I don't know, where'd the thing of you not being good at stealth come from?
Dishonored.
Is there
2,
like a certain game or something?
Dishonored 2 High Chaos. That's all you need to know.
Oh, okay.
High Chaos.
I haven't seen you play any of it, so I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Okay. High Chaos means you don't use stealth. You just kill. That's it. You don't save nobody lives or anything like that. So, let me see. Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. Who played it?
I'm not going to touch it at all.
Yeah, I'm passing too.
Why?
So it was just the two of us.
Why?
Okay, so here's the reason why.
When it comes out.
I don't want to be spoiled. I don't want, because from my understanding, this is like the beginning of the game. Every time when I play a demo or some sort of a thing, pretty much a demo of any game that I touch that's the beginning of the game, I end up buying the game and like never having to play it over again. Yeah, like never getting past that first area. So like I noticed that's a trend for me. So like I know it doesn't happen to everybody, but then it does happen to me. So I'm staying away from like actually playing it, because like I said, every time I play a demo, I never get I tend to never finish it.
Oh really? It was only an hour, so.
Oh, it was time limited?
No, it wasn't even like, it didn't even take you like an hour. It was probably like 40 minutes tops. It's pretty much
the first phase of the area, right? After you beat the first boss.
It was the bombing run, but after that you escape, or you don't even like escape Shinra. You get out of the reactor and it cuts.
So do you basically fight that first kind of like mini boss?
Yeah.
And then like it ends pretty much right after that?
Yeah.
You run out for like maybe
with that timer, right?
7 minutes. Yeah, with the timer.
Okay, I got a question about the timer. Like in the original Final Fantasy VII, there like the timer runs while people are talking and like the transition into an actual fight scene, right? And
I remember that.
When you pause, even when you go into the menus, the timer is still running. Does that happen in this?
Yeah.
I think the timer was still running for me. I think. So
when I was I did not test it when I was in the pause menu. However, it keeps going when you're fighting.
I mean, that makes sense because this game is more real time instead of turn-based. But then, like, let's say you're in a dialogue scene.
Wait, so did you pause it, LadyInfamous? And the timer did keep going?
I believe so. I was on wine and vodka that night, so I'm not 100% sure.
But the dialogue is happening like the dialogue is happening as you're moving. But then when there's one scene where Jesse and Cloud are on one side of the door and Barrett's on the other, and Barrett tells Jesse to just keep going. The timer's still going on that part, and that part is actually like a cutscene that you aren't like moving around in. So yes, during that part, the clock is still ticking.
Okay.
For me,
You know, my theory about this game is that we're going to be grandparents before the game is actually complete.
They said they're going to milk the shit out of the
You
game.
want to beat that dead horse, Sharpie?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it every podcast, every time when Final Fantasy VII Remake comes up. We're gonna be grandparents when this game finishes.
Who's gonna be grandparents? You? Because not me.
No, all of us. Like
I had no kids. How am I gonna be a grandparent?
The reason why is because, like, from my understanding, this version of the game, it ends either at or in the or during while it's still in Midgar.
The confirmation was it's entirely Midgar, and then like what's going to be after this, it's essentially you escape Midgar, and that's supposed to be the end of this one.
Is that like 100% confirmed? I
was pretty sure that was already told.
Okay.
By the developers.
Okay. If that's the case, this game is probably gonna be finished in 20 years.
Excuse me.
So the other thing that was said about the series as a whole is that there was some sort of interview of like how you're gonna be traversing like after like the world and then the next parts of Final Fantasy VII. And I think, yeah, the buggy was going to be something, but not like fast travel, or like something where it was like you do actually have to travel from one town to the other. Like it is open world.
Oh, is it actually going to have like a world map that you run around in?
I'm pretty sure that's what they were alluding to. I will not say that is a fact.
We need that back in Final Fantasy.
Look how excited he got, man.
We need that back in Final Fantasy. That's like a piece of a Final Fantasy that we've been missing.
It kind of is, because like Final Fantasy 15 like kind of did that.
Well, it was just it was
limited.
It was just a continent in Final Fantasy 15. Not even a continent.
Oh, so you want like an entire like world with the ocean
world,
and, like,
with continents and kingdoms and everything. Like you can go everywhere.
He's asking for a lot now.
Well, it's not actually that far-fetched, and
because that's what they did in the past.
It is what they did in the past, but you also people need to remember that the next games are going to be on PlayStation 5, and the consoles are going to have the hardware support to be able to do a bunch more, a lot more. So an open world like that, all of the Final Fantasy VII world in one game, or essentially like in two more parts, like you're gonna have it. And I'm, it's gonna be coming back.
Yeah,
the entire world of in a Final Fantasy game is gonna be coming back.
Yeah, I mean, if they continue going on with like, this is just me speaking. Like, you don't have to agree with me on this part, but then if it continues on with how long it's taken to develop this game, and it's only Midgar that they're ending at, when do you think when do you guys think a complete game is going to actually occur? Or do you think they're going to skip some certain key, not even a key moment, but certain parts of like the story from the original? Or they're going to remove some features from the original?
So, replaying Final Fantasy VII OG, like if you actually look at what parts are in the game, or just like different story beats, different towns and what happens in them, it's actually kind of sparse. So I don't think it's going to be that hard to develop like the story as it is told and flesh upon all of those story bits. So when it comes to game development and like designing like a new game, the hardest part, or the most of the work, is actually the framework and the mechanics of it. So Final Fantasy VII, this part, like the remake of just all of Midgar, that is the framework that we have for this. So all they have to do is just modify it and then add shit into it. And then because they have the PlayStation 5 or, you know, the future console technology and all this stuff, they're able to do a lot more with the framework that they already have. So I think that, yes, they're going to be able to put in all of this stuff from OG Final Fantasy VII, maybe like, you know, well, tweaking some of the story bits or when things happen, that's a different thing. But they're going to put all that in and then some. And that's actually what a show of the first part of the remake is showing. Because Midgar is just, it's so linear. But then you just add a whole world on top of it for with future technology and future hardware. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get everything.
Oh damn! That's I feel like this is gonna be a long journey.
Look, I don't got the time, man. I'll be honest with you, man.
But the thing is that, like I said before, the longest part of making the game or any game is developing the framework and the mechanics of it.
So now the next games will be faster.
Yeah, we're not going to wait like 5 or 6 more years for part 2.
Yeah, it's kind of like that RE2 remake, right?
Exactly.
It's like RE2 remake takes forever to make, but then like a year later, RE3 remake comes out.
Exactly. That is exactly the 1-to-1 ratio that we have. Like part 2, we'll probably get it in a year and a half.
Yeah, but I think
I'll say
Resident
2.
Evil games, they're made to be beaten in a single sitting.
But it's also like Resident Evil 2. Remember how long it took for us to get Resident Evil 2 remake?
Yeah,
like they already had the Resident Evil 2
it was
engine,
also not as big as Final Fantasy 7.
But I guess a good thing to think about is basically along the lines of what Zeldrick is saying is like if once you establish that framework, for example, you can have another team working on the second game at the same time as the first game.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But until that happens, then you're only working on the first game. I guess you might be able to work on assets for the second game, like skins or textures or whatever, but you can literally like take the framework and start building on that for the second game while you're doing the first one once that's established. So he's probably right. It's not like it's going to take a year for the next one to come out, but like, yeah, maybe a year and a half or 2 years, like you said. Yeah, probably.
But again,
I would go along with that.
Final Fantasy 7 has a long story.
But they also already have the story. That's another thing too.
They have the story and like they have to write or they have to voice the dialogues. They have to add more lines. They have to do all this stuff. But the other thing that you did point out too is that like is developing the assets. Like all these assets are either stuff. Some of the stuff they've used previously. I'm pretty sure that like all these are new assets. Yeah. But now they have all those assets. And then they can reuse like the same textures or whatever it may be for the next games. And I guess maybe probably the longest part of, or the most time consuming maybe for the next games is going to be the voice acting, the model, and the animation for like new scenes or new moves or whatever. And then adding like script and dialogue or whatever, like kind of like we have all the pieces in like we have the box of pieces of the puzzle, and we've finished a third of that puzzle. That is Final Fantasy VII Remake, like the first part. But then like all those pieces, like we know how it goes. Like actually, sorry, let me backtrack on this analogy. We have to make the puzzle pieces first, and that is the development of Final Fantasy VII, like as a whole. But then now we have the first part done, and now we just got to fit the pieces together.
Okay, I guess my next question now is I'm going to ask two of you, since you guys are in, well, one of you was in development, the other one is getting into development. How long do you think, how many years do you think it will be until the game is fully complete?
4 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. That's, even though I wasn't software engineering, like that doesn't, I don't know if I could gauge that.
Well, I mean,
that's like, I didn't make games, so that's a whole different beast.
I can't gauge that either. But the thing is like, kind kind of like with the logic or the idea that I'm getting from, how long did it take for Final Fantasy VII, like when they first said that it's in development? Wasn't that like 4 or 5 years ago?
How long
was it?
How long?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was like 5 years ago that they announced that it was in development, and then we got that first trailer.
I don't know.
But so now we're getting the first game. For us to get the complete game,
I don't know.
I would actually say 5 years tops.
I don't know.
Like to the end.
To the very end, 5 years
disc
tops.
4 end.
There's only 3 discs.
Was it only 3 discs? I thought it was 4.
Yes, it was. It was 3. Also, Final Fantasy VII, as like the way the story structure goes, it's also 3 parts. Technically speaking. So it's 3 discs.
Was it really 3 discs? God, it's been such a long time. I thought it was 4 discs.
What about you, UnsheathedProductions? Did you play the
go ahead and Google right now.
Are you interested in getting this game?
No, I am interested in getting this game. It's like a more updated way of actually seeing how the game's going. I just don't want them to cut anything out.
Actually, I think an important question really is, LadyInfamous, you played the demo. Are you interested in getting this game?
It's up in the air.
Because, and the reason why I say like the same question.
It's in the air.
What's up?
It's in the air.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, you've been saying this whole time that like you didn't want to pay full price for the game, but even though you hadn't played it before. So I'm curious if like this experience was enough. Like I know Sharpie had played it before and like was, as far as I know, was relatively sold on it, but even before playing the demo. Mm-hmm. But for you, for somebody who hadn't even played the original game and was kind of already not sold, did this not sell you on it?
It sold me a little bit because it reminded me, like the gameplay style of the demo reminded me so much of Final Fantasy 15, which I was so jiggy with.
Sorry, what'd you say? Cut out for a second. It reminded you of what?
The gameplay reminded me of Final Fantasy 15, just a little more polished.
Oh, 15.
Just a little more polished. So I can get jiggy with that. But I need to know how much the whole experience is going to cost me. Now, mind you, I don't spend money on games that I haven't been playing at all. I think Death Stranding was $60 and Fallout 76 was $80. As each experience is going to be, I know this part right here, this 40-hour gameplay that's about to come out later on this month. That's 40 hours, $60. That's around a decent price. But what about the next installment? How much is that going to cost? How many hours is that going to be? I don't know. I don't know because I haven't played the original. So I don't know how big the game is going to be. Some people say, oh, it's okay. You know, it's an experience. You're going to get hella million hours in this game and you should spend $60 per experience for it. I'm like, no. If it's 3 parts in this game and it's $60 a piece, that's $180. That's a lot of money for a game. So,
but what if it's $180 for 120 hours of gameplay?
I don't know. That's a lot. That'll be the most I ever spent on a game, and I don't know if I can do that.
No, the most you ever spent on a game was Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Or compare that 150 hours in the entire Witcher 3, and I paid $30 for all that.
I paid $20 for The Witcher, and that was the best $20 I ever spent. So,
how much did you pay for Fallout 76?
$80.
Oof, halfway there. And how many hours did you spend?
Not even 6. Not even 6.
There you go.
And with Death Stranding, I don't think I had 2. I probably had like 4 hours with Death Stranding. So I to this day don't even like the last couple of Call of Duties. I didn't get the map packs or anything like that. So that's what.
There's map packs these days?
No, I'm saying the last couple of times they did have map packs. I didn't get them.
Yeah, Black Ops 4 and
World War II, I think.
World War II was before Black Ops 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they both had map packs. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, everything at Black Ops 4 and before had map packs, but I just need clarification. What was before Black Ops 4?
Oh, you're right about the 4-disc thing. I was thinking about Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah, that was 4 discs.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy 8 and 9 was 4 discs.
Correct.
That's an experience, and I'm like, I think I talked to you guys like a couple of weeks ago about. Don't worry, I'll get someone to buy it for me. Nobody's gonna buy a $180 game for me. So it's like,
I mean, they might put like $60 at a time.
You do realize every time we say that, we say it as a joke, right? Not like we actually believe somebody's gonna buy it for you. I mean, that's what I joke about.
I believe that. You're crazy.
You believe that, Unsheathed?
Mm-hmm. I feel like you get like $1,000 in games a year. You spend like $180.
That's not fair, bro.
Yeah, it's just LadyInfamous. We know how it is.
I'm not famous.
She's infamous.
Infamous, yes.
Infamous. Thank you.
Yeah. I bet you got that game free too.
Actually, I haven't played an Infamous game. I never played.
No, I'm just joking.
I never played an Infamous a game. Never.
You should. Okay, so since you have a PlayStation 4, I do recommend Infamous Second Son.
Second Son is fantastic.
I recommend it.
It's really, really good.
It's really, really good. Is it really, really cheap?
Yeah, it was a launch title, I believe.
That's been out so long. It better be cheap.
Game, yeah.
It better be.
You can get it like $20, maybe less.
Okay.
I'm going 10.
I will.
I bet you can find it for 10 somewhere.
I will definitely look up to the Infamous Second Son because I need more juice. I need more action on my PlayStation. But
that will get you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that will give you
a lot of action in that game.
A lot of action.
Yeah. That game is huge too. It's pretty big.
Yeah. And also, I mean, all this being side topic, like Seattle, like it actually does do a few landmarks 1-for-1, and it's supposed to be all of Seattle. And they also give you the Seattle skyline too, and it's beautiful. Anyways, as far as for like Final Fantasy VII goes, like I was ready to box in your stream, but like
you every time I say something, you always ready to box. We can do this, bruh.
you need 5 minutes.
Fucking, it'll be over in 30 seconds, and I'll be the one on the floor. Like, I can't fight to save my life. Anyways, Final Fantasy VII. So, like, what you experienced in the demo, like, did you? I saw you struggling.
You be struggling. I saw you. I always struggle. Duh.
Well, no, but the thing is that like the game is hard, and like for myself, like I didn't have an easy time with it. Like the game is hard, and so if you listen to other people that have experienced the different parts of this game. The only thing that they were able to really sort of show to like other content creators was chapter 1, 2, and I believe chapter 8. I want to say.
Out of how many chapters?
I don't know. I don't know how many chapters, but like I believe chapter 8 was the Abzu fight. When you go into the sewer and you fight that big giant monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was chapter 8.
PTSD for LadyInfamous though.
Why?
Well, okay,
remember what happened in the sewers in Resident Evil 4?
Oh man, I'm sorry.
There's no cockroaches.
You guys are cutting off.
There's not going to be cockroaches.
Hear the conversation. Anyways, and then what you were saying about the PTSD.
No, that's exactly what I was about to say. Resident Evil 4 and the sewers and cockroaches.
I'm not playing it.
But there are no cockroaches.
Oh, come on. Ain't no. You talking about Final Fantasy VII? Got them shit?
Yeah.
No. Okay, I'm about to say.
There aren't any cockroaches in this game.
That would have turned me off. So, no, I couldn't do it.
Were there any bug monsters other than like flying creatures? I don't remember.
It's gonna cost.
There are bug creatures, but the only time that you fight them, I don't remember any in the sewer level. But outside. I've been grinding some of this stuff out, and it was like towards Cosmo Canyon in the forest area before you fight.
Yeah, there were like
get
insects,
over to Cosmo
right?
Canyon. There's insects, yes,
like flying insects. Yeah,
yeah, but none of them are like brown cockroaches. Some of them look like grasshoppers. Some of them look like green pill bugs or whatever the fuck. It's weird. But anyways, they even reported that in all of those sections that they fought, and there was also like gameplay. I watched Maximilian Dude's gameplay footage of Chapter 2, and it's tough. It's a hard game, and like there's no other difficulty setting after normal. It's just normal, easy, and classic mode. And so on normal mode, it's going to be a pretty difficult game if you don't know what you're doing.
So I should be on easy, right?
Probably.
You can play it on easy. I would say, like, if you have time, play it on easy and see if you have a better experience with fighting. And go from there, because classic mode, all that does is you pretty much just drop your controller and you let it play itself. And then when you want to do like magic items or abilities, you press a button and you go through your menus and you activate it. That's all it is.
Why is that called classic mode?
I have no idea, because it's not classic mode.
I would have thought that would be easy mode.
See, that should be easy mode, but I don't know. But anyways, yeah, like I said in your stream as well, like from what people reported is that if you speedrun it, it's gonna be like 40 hours, but it's also like a tough game, so you're gonna get a lot more mileage out of it. And if you want to like level up or like get farther and with some sort of abilities, that's gonna take some time too. So to me, like I don't know, like if I had a very good experience, say that like this game, Final Fantasy VII, like just part 1, $60, and I spent 80 hours on it, and I was like, all that 80 hours was like maybe like for the most part good, or I'll even like be sacrilegious and say like fucking it was mediocre, but I still wanted to play the rest of it. Yeah, I'll go for it. I think that's still like worth my time and my money, because like I still had a decent time with it. And even though that I've now replaying this game, the original game, twice, I still want to experience what current technology has for us to be able to remake Final Fantasy VII and tell the story in a more full-fledged manner, with more dialogue, with more description, with more scenes to tell the story. I think it's good. I think it's good to give it that time. So I also want to ask you, what is your mindset on it being that it having 3 parts? Because I need to stress this even on the podcast for like anybody else listening, and to you two, Unsheath and Sharpie as well. Like, it's not Final Fantasy VII and then Telltale Games Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. It's not like that.
So it's going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, right?
That's correct.
But how much for per part? I know the first one's going to be 60. What's the next two?
Why would the other 2 parts not be $60?
So we talk about 180 though. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, no, but then that's not over the course of what, like 2 months or 3 months. That's over the course of years.
That's over the course of 5 years.
So they want me to pay full price and wait?
I mean, look what you did with Call of Duty. Like every year you spend money on Call of Duty.
And everybody would say, like, you're just playing the same game over and over again. You're buying just a reskin copy of Call of Duty.
At least I know what I'm paying for, and I don't have to wait multiple years for Modern Warfare Part 2 or Call of Duty Modern Warfare Part 3. At least I know what I'm getting, what I'm paying for. It may be copy and paste, but at least I know what it is versus Final Fantasy VII, which is, unless you haven't played the original game, you don't know what you really get. You don't know. Actually,
well, if we're talking about mechanically speaking, as far as for how the gameplay goes, you played it. Like, you know what the rest of the games are going to play like.
How long? I'm $180 on the span of 5 years is a lot for me.
The other thing too is like
$180 over the span of like 2 years is a lot of money.
Yeah, the other thing you got to remember too is like, well, first off, clearly an iconic game that a lot of people love. So even though you don't know what you're getting because you didn't play it, you know that it's kind of like there's a reputation for it. So you can kind of expect that to some degree. If they nail what they're trying to execute on, it'll probably be at least a good game. I can't say it's going to be amazing because obviously your taste could be different from everybody else in the world, so you don't know. But the other thing I was going to say is like, I feel like once you play the first Final Fantasy, like the first part of the game, you probably know what to expect in terms of the second and third, if it's 3 parts or whatever, more so than you know what to expect from the next Call of Duty game.
Yeah, when it comes, if you really like storytelling, right? I think Final Fantasy VII, like as much as I hate to call it a Final Fantasy themed game,
it's a Final Fantasy game, yeah.
Right. So like for me, like I would say like Final Fantasy VII, it did a very, very good job introducing people to Final Fantasy. I think the vast majority of people play Final Fantasy VII first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was their very first Final Fantasy game, and therefore they put that as a standard when it comes to Final Fantasy storytelling. Like previous Final Fantasy, there's only 3 games that was actually good. The first one, the 4th one, and the 6th one.
And though I think that portraying it in this way is kind of like I want to say it's a little bit of a wrong angle to take it for someone that is not really like is trying to like is seeing all this kind of blind, but it's more of it's your experience from the demo for the characters and for the combat style. I for one think that when it comes to the combat, like I wanted to play more of the combat because I felt like I didn't get enough of it, but I'm different when it comes to that. And like, I feel like I didn't get like the full flavor of what it's of how it's going to handle. And I just wanted to do more so that way I could be like, you know, Devil May Cry, like perfect my combos and maneuver my way around and stuff like that. But I got the gist of how the combat is going to work. But LadyInfamous I would actually put it in this way, like for the characters that they showed you for how they talked, and for the combat, like did any of that feel like that you were intrigued by the characters that you wanted to know more, or with the combat, did you feel frustrated to the point of that like you didn't want to learn any more of it, or did you want to like play more of it so that way you got a better feel of it, or did you feel fine with the combat just in general? Like these are more of the questions to try to gauge how the rest of your experience would go. LadyInfamous?
She might have to step away for a sec, but that's okay. A great question.
Yeah, because like I mean, a lot of what I hear is like, what I mean, it's not just her, but it's also like, it seems like this sort of uproar of like, why am I not getting the entire game with this remake? Like I should get the entire OG game of what the story is into this remake. And it's like, well, not really. Mainly because like one, they're taking their time with it, and also like, do you expect them to shove 10 discs or whatever the fuck into one case and expect to charge you like $60 for the amount of?
I think this is kind of like a weird entitlement type of thing.
Yeah,
there's like no reason why, just because there was a single purchase, like a single fully fleshed out game in one purchase before that, it necessarily has to be with this remake, which is clearly like they're not just giving you like a, you know, up-res version of the original game. They're like going and redoing the entire thing, which has its own ramifications in terms of like like you said, can they develop it all at once? Without taking 15 years? Can they like fit it all on discs or whatever? There's like a lot of other things that like it's like there's no reason why you should think that it's going to be guaranteed to be the same.
It could be a budgetary problem too.
Time.
Square could have said like, here's the
Definitely.
budget. Like, how much are you willing to spend on for how far into the game?
Yeah, exactly. And they might have been like, yeah, let's get you out of Midgard, and then like we'll see how that does, and maybe if it nobody buys the game, or maybe if it's not like really a commercial success, we won't make any more, as compared to going through remaking the entire game and then spending all that money and then having it be a failure. So I don't know, yeah, there's a lot of factors.
Well, I don't even think that it's going to be like that, where they're going to weigh in on like, oh, well, what's the take going to be on the first part of the game? Like, does this mean that we're not going to be making the rest of the game? Like, I doubt that that's going to be a factor for them making the rest.
I can almost guarantee you, if it's not a success, they would not do another one. I can pretty much guarantee that. Not necessarily that I'll have any insider knowledge, but just like the idea of like how much effort they're putting into making this. And how much, like, it's like if they spend all that money to make the second part after the first part was kind of a failure, are they expecting people to buy that? Or are they just kind of shoveling money into a furnace? I don't know. But I feel like business, in terms of a business decision, if it just tanks, that is kind of a good way to do it, where they say, okay, well, we tried and it didn't work, so moving along.
When you say success, do you mean how much it was sold, or their expectation of how many it was sold, or like how people are receiving it?
I would say sales.
Okay.
Not necessarily received. Like it's like movies. Doesn't matter if everybody in the world says a movie's shitty if everybody in the world went to go see it. Like, they made all their money back and they're probably going to make a sequel at that point. You know what I mean? Like, people can complain all they want to, but if you're making money off of it, that doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference if people are complaining. But
well,
yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask her a question.
Okay.
You said you played Final Fantasy 13 and you liked it, right?
Yes.
Why did you like it?
13 or 15?
13. Why did you like 13?
It looked gorgeous to me when I bought the game.
That's it?
I liked the story.
Which was that? Was that Lightning?
Yeah.
That was Lightning?
Okay. Let me tell you, 13 was probably the worst storytelling in any Final Fantasy game ever.
Well, I know that now.
But then now think about how great Final Fantasy VII story is going to be.
But I don't know the story. All I know is
Did you know the story? Did you know the story for Final Fantasy 13 before you bought it?
No, someone recommended me the game.
Okay, there's a lot of people on the internet that's probably going to recommend you to.
Oh, there's at least
Final
3
Fantasy.
of them on this podcast that'll recommend it. Maybe 2. I don't know.
So the like going into Final Fantasy VII, like I feel like that for how they're going to tell this story, I feel like that you're gonna like this one as well. Because from what I gathered, like, you like the character. Well, I don't know about Cloud, but you like the characters in the demo. I thought when you played
Barrett
it
was great.
Yeah.
How come I see on the internet why people are calling him a racist character?
He got some issues with Cloud. He got some issues with Cloud, man.
He's not.
Are they calling him racist as in he's a racist, or his existence is racist?
His writing in the game is the stereotypical
he's
black
totally a
man,
stereotypical black dude.
Yeah.
Okay, and
taking
taking a step back, when the original Final Fantasy VII was written, he was supposed to be a caricature of Mr. T.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, I don't think I would imagine that neither myself nor LadyInfamous is necessarily complaining about him. I'm just saying I get where they would be coming from if they're like he's stereotypical.
Yeah, because in Japan there's not a whole lot of black people.
But you got money and resources to go research how a black man is, and it's 2020.
But
then they'd be changing the character
back
probably.
in 1997.
Okay,
they had zero idea.
So they can change the writing a little bit to accommodate.
Well, if they did, then it will take him out of character.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
okay.
I think they're just trying to represent what the original game was.
Okay.
Because if they do that, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, including the the black fans, will be probably pissed that they changed how he is.
They're like, who is this dude?
Ooh, okay, I understand.
So,
yeah.
It's the aesthetics
so then, LadyInfamous,
aesthetics of the character. Yeah.
In the elevator, when he's giving his speech or his preach about hearing the Mother Earth cry. You remember that?
Why'd you call it a
right?
preach?
Because that's what it is. That's how he is sounding in the elevator.
Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha.
A little woke. That's
exactly.
a little woke on the elevator.
All right.
That is mostly his character for the Midgar section. Actually, you know what? I will say only half of that of the Midgar section of when you're in the town, and then like he starts to change because of other shit that's happening and everything that happens after.
Oh yeah, there's a lot that's gonna happen.
That's a good call.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So if you liked his character as like more of like he's like really funny because like I know what type of character he is, and then you want to see character development with someone that's like him, you're gonna get it. So I guess that's one way of me trying to persuade you or ease your thoughts of like how these characters are gonna go.
I'm digging what I played in the demo, despite my reservations. So it's supposed to come out later.
Pre-ordering right now.
I will.
Well, you know my rule on pre-ordering. I already have a Shinra ID card from like when Crisis Core came out with my photo on it.
That was a thing. Yeah.
I don't know where it is though, but it's somewhere here.
Okay, here's a question, LadyInfamous. What if, like, by some magic of the internet, along the same lines of what we see a lot with like PC gaming, if you pay for the game early, somehow you get like a 20% discount on it. Do you think you would be interested?
I'm gonna wait and get them discounts rolling. I don't think that Final Fantasy VII is gonna run on. I don't think it's gonna go on PC.
No, I know. That's why I said somehow by the magic of the internet. But because, like, you know, Zeldrick has mentioned before that, like, on good old games not good old games, Green Man Gaming, sometimes, like, it'll be like, oh, this game is coming out. And if you buy it, you know, beforehand, you get 20% discount. It's like, are you 20% off interested? Maybe.
Well,
yeah,
I did. I don't know if it's still going on now, but people who have Amazon Prime can get $10 off on Final Fantasy VII Remake.
That's good.
Really?
I might do that.
I'm $10 off. This was a deal that was happening before January when I had Amazon Prime.
Oh.
So go ahead and check that again. I don't think it's there anymore.
Oh yeah, I think Butterfinger is doing some sort of like a skim promo to.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I was wondering if you were talking about some person named Butterfingers.
Butterfinger, yeah.
No.
Was doing a discount on it? Nah.
Yeah, he's doing a 5-finger discount. Yeah.
And then he flips it. That's why he's called Butterfingers. Nah, actually, I cashed in on that.
Nice.
The whole fucking deal with like you buy 2 Butterfingers or Baby Ruths or Crunch Bars or a combination of one or the other, and you take a picture or receipt, send it into Nestle, and they give you the Final Fantasy VII dynamic theme with Tifa on the water tower, with some nice little music, and then you get some in-game DLC with it, and then you can get more of, I think, some armor pieces or armlets or whatever in-game if you do the same thing like 2 more times, like 2 candy bars, receipt, take a picture, send it in, 2 candy bars, like that, but I think you can only do it a maximum of 3 times. I'm not sure. I don't know what the details are, but I think that's pretty cool. I learned a while ago that the original Final Fantasy VII did some campaign with Pepsi, and fucking Final Fantasy VII, like, Cloud was on Pepsi cans way back in the day.
Oh yeah, I remember
or on
that.
like cartons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know someone that had like a big ass poster of Cloud. Didn't understand it. at all. Like, who's this dude with this big ass sword by the beach? Oh, that's just
I mean, what's the purpose of having a poster of anime waifu on your wall? Like, it's kind of the same concept. But what is also a concept is raising awareness. Wonderful 101 remastered on Kickstarter. It was merely to raise awareness.
That makes sense.
But kept
the game's already been complete.
But they kept the money though.
Of course. Like for me, like my original thought was they were just doing this to buy off the license from Nintendo.
Did they?
Yeah, because it was a Nintendo exclusive game. And I think like that I would have thought that this whole Kickstarter was just so they raise money to just say, you know what, Nintendo, we want to get this off, like we want to spread this across multiple platforms, not just yours. Like that's what my original idea was.
So that was like the original idea of what people were thinking. I've never heard of seasongaming.com. But anyways, there was a interview on Gematsu between the studio head and executive VP at Sushi Inaba and Gematsu. And Inaba actually says, well, the actual reason we decided to do a Kickstarter campaign was not for funding at all. It was more about gauging interest in The Wonderful 101. This is a game we've always wanted to revisit at some point in time, so we thought it would be a good opportunity to bring the fans together, to unite them, and gauge interest, and in essence, to release the game. So it wasn't really about the amount of funding at all. It was about self-publishing, bringing fans together, and revisiting The Wonderful 101. Actually, there's one detail. It was about self-publishing, and I think we were right on that.
Oh yeah, we talked about this the other week.
So, well, we talked about this, but like it was more of like how this article is framing it. The title, the headline being that it was just to raise awareness, but no, that one little line right there, it was about self-publishing. And to be able to self-publish, it was a Nintendo title. And to be able to get off of Nintendo's hands, they have to fork over some money.
Yeah, and it's not cheap either to like take licenses away from other people.
It's not cheap at all. But however, there is the idea still stands, is to also raise awareness, because Nintendo wasn't going to do it. They were going to be like, nah, just leave it.
Just like Sony with Spider-Man to Disney.
Exactly. I guess so. But yeah, it's kind of like a balancing board, half and half. You got one side that is just like, yeah, we got to pull it away from Nintendo, but also how much do the fans actually want The Wonderful 101 to come back? And it turned out a lot of people did. So
we're not going to talk about the money that they took and not giving them back. So they're just going to charge for the game. They said they're going to...
No, they said they're going to use it to create all the product, basically all the stuff that was promised on like the Kickstarter page, and then additional content if there's money left over.
Yeah, because you can't just port over something and expect it to work. Like you have to make it so it works under that architecture. And that takes time, and time equals, you have to pay people for their time to develop that.
Then why didn't they say that from the beginning?
Because automatic assumption.
It's your article that you're reading. That is exactly what it is. Because you're reading an article that is like, it was just to raise awareness. But no, if you look at the Kickstarter and from that line of having or wanting to self-publish it, because again, Nintendo didn't want to do it. They weren't going to give them the means to like, re-put it or put it on the Switch. They didn't even want that. They just wanted to leave it where it is on the Wii U and just let it lie in the dirt. But with this Kickstarter and with social media going around like, hey, Kickstarter, this game of bringing back Wonderful 101, the main goal of it, and I want to see if I can find it real quick, because I'm pretty sure the main goal was to bring it back on the Switch, which is a Nintendo platform.
Oh yeah, that's the first goal, and then it starts, and then like they have stretched goals to bring it on other platforms.
Like the PS4 and PC. I don't know about Xbox One if that was on that.
No, it's not on there.
Okay, so while the first goal was to bring it back and bring it back on the Switch, the goals on top of that were the stretch goals being to bring it to other platforms, and all of these other pledges being like, oh, you get the soundtrack, you get physical merchandise, you get a jacket.
You get a time attack mode that didn't exist in the first game.
There's even one pledge. If you donate a specific amount of money, Kamiya blocks you on Twitter.
Really? Someone blocks you?
Okay, Kamiya on fucking from Platinum Games, he's hilarious, and sometimes he'll like just he'll block people that are like annoying the shit out of him because they're being annoying little shits on the internet. But like that's a once in a lifetime thing too, to being blocked by someone as famous as Kamiya. But no, it's to fund all these stretch goals, to put it on different platforms, and to get it away from Nintendo's hands and put it on the Switch and bring it back.
Are you gonna cop it?
They're not hoarding any of this money.
Are you guys copping?
They're using it for development.
Are you guys copping?
Huh?
Are you guys gonna cop it?
Probably.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Like, I never played the original.
I never played the original either. I played a little bit of the original because I didn't have a Wii U. I only played it at my friend's place, which was very rare for me to actually go and play the actual game. But it was fun for what I played.
Yeah, I don't know what this. I've never figured out what this game is and like why there's such a draw to it.
I played like 30 seconds of it at a GameStop way back in the day, and because it was a demo unit, it was broken. So
yeah, like I said, this game, the idea is like, Swimmy, the children's story.
I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that last time, and I'm like, I don't know what Swimmy is.
Damn, it's like you guys didn't go to elementary school or preschool.
It's like we didn't go to Japan.
Your
elementary school.
It's not even a Japanese story.
Okay. I mean, I've been to elementary school, but every elementary school is different. Letting you know, dude.
Oh, this is a pretty big story during elementary school.
Sure.
What story?
Sure, it wasn't just pretty big in yours.
Swimmy.
Who the fuck is Swimmy?
It's a black fish.
That's what I'm saying. You sure it wasn't just big in yours?
No, it was big.
I've literally never heard of
Kanye
Swimmy.
West album. I see gold. I see gold.
But it's a story concept that that has been told in different mediums. I remember actually seeing an animation of this. Now that like you're explaining it for the second time, I remember seeing an animation of it. But yeah, like the concept of it being that you control one hero, but like they're all like a school of fish, and they're all moving to point A to point B, and you're using everybody to make a form to solve a puzzle or to do an interaction and stuff like that.
So is it like Pikmin?
Not really.
Not really, because you don't form into like an object. You actually use Pikmin to do certain tasks or to create a bridge or something like that, right?
Right. So like think of it like this, like it as like a cartoon, you have a school of fish, and like they rearrange into a hand, and that school of fish that's shaped like a hand, that cloud, now it can grab onto this piece of coral.
No, I never
that sort of concept.
I never heard of this story.
So it's the Green Lantern.
Yeah, essentially, but like the magic that is like the Green Lantern, like sort of fist or whatever, like all those particles, like each particle is like its own entity.
I got you.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, we are a little bit over that 2-hour mark, so we have to wrap it up. I want to thank everyone who's listening to us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening from. We're going to start with outros. Let's start with JSharpie. What are you doing next week? Tell them where you at.
I'm going to be playing Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
All right.
Awesome.
And continue working on my idea. I really want to play Will of the Wisp.
All right. Tell them where you at.
I'm at twitch.tv/JSharpie and Twitter on JSharpieTV. And you can check out my site at JSharpie.com.
All right, JSharpie.com. All right, let's go. What about you, Zeldrick?
I'll be streaming Sekiro and Final Fantasy VII. You can catch me at twitch.tv/Zeldrick. On Twitter, same name, at Zeldrick. Yeah, we're gonna be hopefully completing Final Fantasy VII this next week.
Okay, awesome. Last but not least, UnsheathedP, tell them where you at.
I'm not last, but okay.
Oh, you're not. I'm last.
You still gotta go.
I still gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, I'm gonna be playing Ori and the Will of the Wisps. That's probably I've been waiting for that to come out, so I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
Actually, might end up having to not having to, but getting to work from home this week, so I'll probably be playing that. What is it, like Wednesday or Thursday it comes out?
Tuesday.
Or was it Tuesday? I thought it was Wednesday.
Yep.
Today's the 8th.
Tuesday night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'll probably start playing that then. Because technically there's pretty much absolutely nothing I can do in terms of work at home. So it's basically going to be like, just stay home and relax. So yeah, I'll be playing that. I'll be on twitch.tv/UnsheathedP.
All right. Again, last but not least, I will be playing some Dishonored. I got to really mess with my PC games. I got like games that I'm looking at but not playing. And thank you. And I don't know, I'm going to be doing something later on in the week. You can catch me at Lady_Infamous415. You can catch me at Twitter, Lady_Infamous30. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Please like, favorite, subscribe, whatever platform you're listening to on. It only takes 2 seconds, maybe not even 2 seconds to do so, especially if you're on a mobile device. Just tap on that like button. If you got friends that like these diverse gaming conversations, share the podcast with your friends too. See you guys next week.